Credit to the Sentinel finding a school district employee in Kansas who was paid over $631,000 for the 2023-2024 school year. Dave Trabert, head of the Kansas Policy Institute, is here. We teased it last week. I guessed it was, a football coach somewhere. It turns out that's not the case, Dave. Who is our winner at $631,000?
Well, good morning, Pete. Name's David Wild. He works for the Geary County School District, USD 475. His title is Construction Program Manager. They won't really explain what that means. The basis for the payment is there's some kind of an arrangement. It's called an Intergovernmental Services Agreement with Fort Riley. Fort Riley is in Geary County, and there's the Fort Riley is paying the school district for something. Maybe it's for services, maybe it's for some kind of construction. Nobody will talk, including Fort Riley. This guy's getting paid 1% of the payments. So these are big payments. This is something approaching $600 million, $60 million. He's getting 1%, and there's just no basis for that. Then they won't talk. Somebody knows that something doesn't smell kosher to taxpayers.
So is this money coming out of the school district, or is it coming out of some federal pot of money from Fort Riley?
It would be coming from Fort Riley because he's getting paid 1% of the payments that come to the district.
Okay. Wow. $631,000. Yeah, quite a sum of money. So there's no answers on this? I mean, you guys are digging and no one's talking?
Yeah, they won't talk. The fort won't talk. The superintendent, the employee said it's not appropriate for him to comment on something. It's just so bizarre. I mean, they know they got caught. They did something that it's legal, but it's completely unethical, and they just don't want to talk about it. Now, it's not just that the money he got now. If this guy retires within the next, say, 3 years, that's going to count towards pension. It would count as though he made that much money every year. So, I mean, his pension would be, because he's been with the district several years. We have his pay going back to, I think, 2018, and he was making $105,000 to $110,000 a year. And then last year it fell to $93,000. And that's suspicious. And that's when his title changed from Chief Operations Officer. So it's I don't know if this is the end of it, if it's ongoing. But
now,
it's an amazing amount of money.
Let me ask you this then. Is that where the concern should be for the Kansas taxpayer if the pension benchmark is based off of the $600,000 salary? Is that where the Kansas taxpayer could get squeezed?
Certainly going to get squeezed. That's one thing because that could cost taxpayers over $100,000 a year for life.
Yep, that's wild.
And the other thing is, if these payments are coming in, the money could be used for something else. Every school district has serious academic challenges, proficiency shortfalls, and the money could be used for something else than paying an employee a ridiculous amount of money.
What's the answer there, Dave Trabert? Because listen, I advocate for teachers, good teachers, to get paid more competitive salaries. But there's always the notion of, hey, part of the reason that maybe the salaries aren't as high as they should be is because of the back end pension plan that's in place. What's the way to fix the system so that good teachers are getting paid what they're worth and the money's not just in the bureaucratic bloat in these schools, but then also trying to protect the taxpayer on the back end with the pensions? How do we fix this?
Well, the way to pay teachers more is to pay them for performance. You want to incentivize the behaviors you want, and you want to. You can put a system in place where you're measuring growth. So it's not to get every kid to every proficiency at the same level, but grow at least a year's worth of learning when you're with that teacher. And you can do it with grading schools based on the overall performance of the school. And if the school improves, say, grade them A through F. If the school improves a letter grade or the school earns an A, then extra money goes to that school to be used for teacher bonuses or perhaps to reward other employees as well. There's an incentive way to do that. Mm-hmm. Good teachers, there's no reason good teachers can't make six figures.
Yeah.
You pay them for performance, and yes, that would improve their pension, and that's fine. The way to protect taxpayers on the back end of pensions is to not have more employees than you need in the first place, and to not have these kinds of whatever this sweetheart deal. I imagine there's probably a lot of upset teachers in that school district now that they know that money was basically wasted that way.
That's a good point. All right, so Dave Trabert, I know the Kansas legislature has interim hearings next week regarding a budget process, a different state budget process. What is the summary of that, and why should it matter to the Kansas taxpayer today?
Well, because the current budget process is not designed to allow adequate time for review. Legislators, basically, here's how it works. Agencies will come into the legislature and they'll say, we got this much money budgeted last year. We need this much more next year, or these bad things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. And there's so much. There are hundreds of agencies that they're having to look through, and agencies and different kinds of budgets. There's just not time. So and it's also a budget that is designed by the governor.
Yep.
And then the legislature just reacts to it. Mm-hmm. Instead, there needs to be something like a year-round program where the legislature, the budget committees are looking at how the money is being used. There first needs to be real specific goals of what they're trying to accomplish with their spending. So you're looking at, was it effective? And also, can you be more efficient with the money? And then when you get into the legislature, the legislature builds the budget, and then they're making, with the whole committees and back and forth between the chambers, they can make more intelligent decisions. But the governor doesn't like this. State law doesn't require it. Mm-hmm. All it says is that the governor will provide a budget report, not produce the budget. So it can be done. It's just a matter of getting the will to change.
Well, this is how private business operates, and this is how, this is how the HOA I'm a part of operates. You freaking, you look at it throughout the year. Does this make sense? Does that make sense? You adjust where you need to, but never with government, Dave Trabert. Keep up the outstanding work with the Kansas Policy Institute, and we'll be talking to you next week, my friend. Appreciate the time.
All right, take care, Pete.
All right, that's Dave Trabert on 95.7 FM KCMO. 631 fat ones. My gosh.